Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's Holy Sabbath Day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we get closer to the redemption of the children of Israel, we're going to have to make some difficult decisions. And some of those decisions go right down to our family makeup. We have been raised with that whole thought process of blood being thicker than water. And when you get down to it, blood is thicker than water, but we're dealing with the blood of Yahshua that's thicker than the water of our natural family relations. But it takes going into this word to really deal with that, because as you start repeating some of these things, the first thing that people want to know is where are you getting this information from? And this comes from the same Bible that they have sitting on their coffee table. The Mashiach said, "Who is my mother and my brother? My mother and my brother are the people that share in this word with me." And if we are not able to make those divisions and those separations, we're going to find ourselves going through some unwarranted trouble. There are certain amounts of trouble that we're going to have to deal with no matter what, because you're going to find that Yahweh causes us to grow through the trials and tribulations that we go through. And then there's some that we encounter on our own. But brother, would you read the oracles and entreat the angel that stands at the door to come in and sup with us, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence.
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have favorite love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, we're going to begin today in Matthew chapter 25. Matthew chapter 25, and we're going to read verses 31 through 46. Matthew chapter 25 and verses 31 through 46.
Verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations.
Now, just in reading this, of course, this is in red. This is the words of the Mashiach. And it says he's going to have all nations gathered before him. But of course, the doctrine that we've been given is that all of the people who believe in Jesus, they've all been raptured up. So this doesn't apply to them. So you have to find some way to be able to avoid righteous judgment. So there has to be some kind of fairy tale way that you're not going to be present when these things happen. So this is why these people feel justified. This is why televangelists can get on TV and say, God's not angry with you. Because eventually you're going to read this book and say, wait a minute, this sounds like absolutely nothing but anger. Last time the Messiah was here, he got tortured, beat, mocked, and killed. I don't imagine my next time showing up, I'm going to be happy after I got tortured, beaten, mocked, and killed. I don't think he's coming back trying to hug everybody. He remember what happened the last time he was here. Why you gonna come in here spreading flowers for? Wait a minute, man, these same people killed you. What are you coming back happy for? See, it doesn't make any sense. When you get right down to it, it is amazing that we can have all the book sense in the world. We can have all this, common sense when it comes down to finances and things like that. And then when we get down to spiritual things, we automatically switch on that stupid switch and let whatever that dude say, that's what we're going to do. What he said. He said we're going to be raptured up, so we don't have to deal with this. Go ahead.
And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats.
Right. And the adversary is trying to do exactly the opposite. If you look at any commercials, if you look at anything, they're trying to blend all of the people together so that there's no difference in between nations. There's no difference in between gender. There's no difference in between anything. Yahweh is separating things while the adversary, the devil, keeps trying to push them together. You can't even see a commercial without at least one interracial couple in the mix. This was the same thing. They used to beat our folks for even whistling at a white woman. Now they put it on every commercial. Some kind of blended thing. Because if you're going to have a one rule, a one world government, you have to do away with any division. You have to make everything the same. And if you make everything the same, then at some point you're justifying some wickedness. Because you're pushing all of those things together, and Yahweh does not condone that. You're pushing the unclean with the clean. You're mixing the evil with the good. You put it all in one batch so that everybody can fit together. Every time they start talking about all of the troubles, and Cornel West does it all the time. Whenever they're talking about all the troubles that black people have gone through with the cops, and a lot of times he's talking to Anderson Cooper, and he's openly gay. In the middle of that, he throws in how gay and lesbian should be okay. What does that have to do with us getting shot by the cops? But how they blend the things together, now their plight has become synonymous with ours. Like we can make a decision that, a gay person can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I ain't going to be gay no more. I don't care how long I sleep. I wake up in the morning, I can't decide, you know what, I ain't going to be black no more. You know what, I'm done being black. I've had enough. I want to be able to get some good credit. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. I don't have that decision to make. So how they blend all of that, but see, that's how you get acceptance. You make your cause blend with another cause, now you got all the help of those people. So here it is, we marching to keep from getting shot by the cops. And then we got a bunch of rainbow flags behind us. They marching for something altogether different. What the hell y'all out here for? We getting shot. What y'all marching for? See? But this is how the adversary does. He blends all of these things together. And when you try to separate it, they say something wrong with you. Go ahead.
Verse 33. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 33. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
Right. So Yahweh's going to do the very same thing that he did before. He's going to separate the nations. Well, we have been taught that everything needs to be gathered together. Yahweh is doing something altogether different. When you think about what was on the title slide, separating the clean from the unclean, you have the so-called pastor of a congregation there in their church, and then the dead body sitting right up under that. So you got clean, so-called clean, and unclean all being welcomed in the same venue, and there's a problem with that. The Catholic Church will openly tell you that it was built on top of dead bodies. And they have absolutely nothing, they don't think anything's wrong with that. But what does the Messiah say? He told the Pharisees, he said, y'all hypocrites, because y'all are like whited sepulchres, which look gleaming and white on the outside. That's the headstones. When you go inside of some of those cemetery, and then they got the big buildings on some of them where they had a whole casket inside the room. So the whole thing is this big gleaming white stone. So you like whited sepulchres that appear beautiful on the outward part. But when you go in, guess what's in there? Dead man's bones. So no matter how it look on the outside, it's unclean on the inside. Go ahead.
Verse 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
Mm-hmm.
For I was an hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in.
Right. Now, the Sunday morning doctrine has to leave that out, because they can't deal with a separation between the good and the evil, because they've been told no matter what they do, there's nothing that they can do to lose their salvation. If there's nothing you can do to lose it, how's he going to separate them? Go ahead.
Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Adonai, when saw we you an hungered and fed you, or thirsty and gave you drink? When saw we you a stranger and took you in, or naked and clothed you?
Mm-hmm.
Or when saw we you sick or in prison and came unto you? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me.
Right. And I don't think people consider what it is they do when they saying all manner of evil out of their mouth, when they got all of these things to say. They look at the person that's in front of them, not considering who that person is and who they represent. See, we have to be careful what it is we say and do to one another. Being baptized in the name of Yahshua and carrying the holy name of Israel. See, some people see their husband, some people see their wife, some people see their brother, some people see their sister, and they run off at the mouth. It never does occur to you that might be held accountable unto you on the day of judgment. See, all Miriam saw was Moshe was her brother. So she didn't have no problem speaking against him. And Yahweh said, wait a minute, how is it that you have no problem speaking against my servant? How is it that it was so easy for you to form your lips to speak against him? Because that was her natural brother. She wasn't able to see past the natural part. Go ahead.
Verse 41. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink.
Now, the righteous don't even understand when they're doing good things for the kingdom that these are happening. They don't understand who they're doing it to. Likewise, the people who have done evil to the children of Israel don't understand that that's what they're doing. Because understand now that the nations have given the entire world some other people as the children of Israel. So the last thing that they are considering is how they are treating you or mistreating you. Go ahead.
I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and you visited me not.
Right. Yeah, you come up walking too close to some people's door, they're going to lock it. And they were like, man, I don't like that. That brother looks strange coming up to me. It never does occur to them that that's going to come by. And y'all should say, you remember I was stranded. I walked up to your car and you locked the door and pointed your gun at me. I didn't do that to you. That was some dude named Pookie. Right, that was me. Go into everlasting fire and judgment. Go ahead.
Then shall they also answer him, saying, Adonai, when saw we you an hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto you?
Or in prison. So we ain't never seen you in these situations. No, because your spiritual eyes wouldn't allow you to see me. You saw the physical thing that was in front of you. That's why you couldn't deal with our spiritual things, because all you could see was natural things. You couldn't see me in that, brother. You couldn't see me in that, sister. Go ahead.
Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
Those are two totally different paths. And the fairy tale doctrine of Sunday morning tells us that there's nothing we can do to lose our salvation. That's a problem here. It does not fit what the Messiah said. So we got to figure out who teaching on Sunday morning, because it's not Christ. Christ's not the one teaching on Sunday morning, because this is a totally different doctrine. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13, and let's read verses 36 through 50.
Then Yeshua sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, He that sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one.
Tares are weeds. Weeds that attempt to choke out the growth of the fruit. For the tare to be effective, it needs to be close enough to the wheat. See, a tare can't stop the growth of a wheat if it's in a different field. That means the adversary got to plant a tare right next to where Yahweh plants fruit. So Yahweh plant fruit, Yeshua plant fruit. Here come the adversary, put a tare right beside it. When he grow, you grow. Every time he try to grow, I want you to wrap around him. See, even if you got too small of a pot, the root can't spread out, and it's not going to be able to grow. When you start growing something, you can put it in a small pot. But after a little while, you got to change that pot, right? Because them roots ain't going to spread out. Now you got to get a bigger pot, and then a bigger pot. Then you can turn around and put it in the ground so it can spread out as much as it need to spread out. If it don't spread out at the bottom, it ain't going to grow at the top. So there's some method to the adversary's madness about where he puts these tares to make sure that you don't grow the way you are supposed to. An adversary uses whatever is at his disposal. So a lot of times we all time looking at natural people. A demon can enter into one person, and by the time you fix your hand to hit that person, the demon done left them and went to somebody else. Now you swinging at this person, but that's not who your problem is no more, because the demon done left them and that demon over him. So you have to understand and watch and learn spiritual things. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting physical flesh. And the demon moves. He doesn't have to stay in the body that he possesses. He just moves. And that's typically what the demons do. They jump in, let somebody else make a complete fool of themselves. And then after that, he leave them and let them deal with the trouble. And he off somewhere else. Go ahead.
You know, brother, you was talking about the wheat and the tear being next to it and wrapping around to choke it out.
Mm-hmm.
But what you don't see is underground, like you were talking about the spreading of the roots. He's also spreading his roots, fighting for the same space that your roots are spreading for. So we see what's going on up on top. You don't see what's happening under the surface.
And it's the same thing when you see people in the daytime. You don't know what kind of stuff they be going through at night. Right. They come smiling, shalom. And some of the people go home. Right, they going through hell. Because they fighting for the same space at the house. See? And some people selfish as hell. And they like, no, you don't get no space. No, I want what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want to do. Yeah, but I got limited resources I got to deal with here. I got this to do. I got that to do. I got this to do. Yeah. I want this space. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 39. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burnt in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world.
Right. You separate the tares from the wheat. See? You got to snatch them out, and they gathered together and burned in the fire. You got to remove them. Go ahead.
The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do lawlessness, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who has ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man has found, he hides, and for joy thereof goes and sells all that he has, and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he has found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had, and bought it.
Right. How much do you sacrifice for the things of the kingdom? See? How much will you put into acquiring that field when you realize that field is connected to your salvation? Go ahead.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Right. Now, this is, once again, the Messiah's words. But nothing derogatory can be said on Sunday morning. See, everything has to be about life, peace, and love. So they can't talk about any kind of separation. They can't talk about any kind of righteous judgment. Everything has to be acceptable in some beautiful way. Because that's what makes people give a whole lot of money. Tell them how much God wants them to be rich. Tell them how much God is not angry with them. This is how you get a $63 million plane. Say absolutely nothing but niceties and smile the entire time. Just smile for 2 hours straight. And the people love to have it so. Let's go to our Genesis chapter 11. Genesis chapter 11, and let's start with verses 1 through 9.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built.
Children of men, not children of Elohim. These were children of men. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language.
They have all one language. They are all able to speak to one another. They are all able to commune with one another, do business with one another. And Yahweh didn't see it as good. Go ahead.
And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
Right. So then when you talk about separation, it was Yahweh the one that caused the separation of the nations. Yet the adversary, the devil, wants to do exactly the opposite. He wants to push everybody together. So when you start saying, no, I want to be to my own people, oh, you must be some kind of racist separatist. That's what you about. Yeah, you about that negativity. Yeah. Well, Yahweh must be about it too, because he was the one that separated everybody. So I'm about what my Elohim is about. Because he was the one that said, no. Confound one another's speech. Make sure they don't talk to one another. And that is an ultimate separation between people, because when you don't understand what somebody's saying, it don't take long for you to get out around them people. When they say that one time, you be like, yeah, what he said. I'm out, bro. You don't understand what you're saying, man. I keep talking to you. Well, I'm going to talk to you for, man. I don't know nothing you say. Because after a little while, you get tired of just smiling and nodding, because that's what you do when you understand. Yeah. That's the, go on now. Yeah. Go on now. Go on. Sooner or later, you get tired of that. Man, I don't understand what you're talking about. So Yahweh was the one that did this. See? But they want to make you think that something is wrong with you because you stay to your own. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 11 and verse 8. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
Mm-hmm.
These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters.
Now, understand this. There are many Shemites then. Arphaxad begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begot sons and daughters. Y'all ain't dealing with none of those. See, we think, and first thing we do when we get the word, we want to take the word to all our family because we just know, oh my goodness, what I tell my auntie Josephine this word, she going to start everything she do it, and she going to be like, oh, hallelujah. Right. Yahweh didn't deal with everybody in the family. What make you think you going to be able to? You think you better than Yahweh? That's what you think? You think you somebody, huh? You think, oh no, see, the way I'm going to say it, Aunt Josephine, she gonna stop worshiping the devil. Right. Believe that if you want to. You go ahead and believe that. Yahweh didn't do it from the beginning. He said he begot sons and daughters. Ain't none of them mentioned here, are they? Right. So some people think, man, it wasn't but so many people. No, it's a whole lot of people. Yahweh ain't dealing with them because the whole book will be nothing but full of names. He's like, I ain't dealing with them. I'm going to show you the one seed that I'm dealing with. And then when he deal with that one seed have a whole bunch of kids. He still ain't dealing with all of them. He deal with one of them. So he take 1 out of 50. Then 1 out of the 50. Then that one have 50. Then he take 1 out of that 50. But you think, because you done heard the word, Everybody in your house gonna hear. Yeah, good luck with that. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And Arphaxad lived 5 and 30 years and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years.
403 years. You know how many children you have in 403 years? Go ahead.
And begat sons and daughters.
Right, and he ain't listen, and he didn't mention not a nary one of them, did he? Right. Y'all ain't dealing with none of them. Go ahead.
And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters.
Once again, you got to see how Yahweh is dealing with a remnant out of a remnant from the beginning. It's already a blessing that you sitting here being able to hear the word. It was all kinds of people within the lineage of Shem that he not dealing with. Go ahead.
And Eber lived 4 and 30 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 2 and 30 years and begat Serug.
Now, one thing when you, anytime you look at begat, what you're dealing with is son of. So anytime you have one of them ish telling you that I'm Jewish through my mother, there is no such animal. It is not possible. This is why people think that it wasn't no women, because they're not mentioning women. The seed follows the male. Can't have children without the female, but the lineage belongs to him. That's why you don't find anything but the men listed. Now, this is in Genesis. They say they believe in the Torah, right? Which is the first 5 books. So where they get that twisted, I'm Jewish through my mama doctrine from? Where they get that from? Because it didn't come out of this book. It didn't come out of this book. You're not going to go in this book, especially nowhere in the Torah are you going to find some woman lineage. You're not going to find it. So where it come from? See, you're going to have to deal with the fact that some people openly worship the adversary of the devil. You keep trying to give them passes. Well, maybe they did. No. They worship the devil. And it's his doctrine that he has given them. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begot Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begot Terah.
All right, now it's about to get interesting. Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begot Terah. Go ahead.
And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
Now, everywhere else we've dealt with these things, we see how Yahweh is pulling one to carry on this lineage. One. All right. Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Go ahead.
Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Ishkah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child.
Right, she was barren for a reason. See, Yahweh had set forth that the child that she was going to have was going to be down the line, and it was going to do other things. See, it never does occur to us that things are not happening in our time schedule because of Yahweh. See, we think everything is about us. She wasn't barren because of anything that she had done wrong. She was barren because the child that she was going to have had some spiritual significance that she couldn't have at this point. But see, we're going to make stuff happen. You know, because we somebody. Yeah, we somebody. We're going to make it happen. Right. That's how they end up getting that other boy. Well, go in unto my maid that you may have a child by her. That's because we can't wait. See? Yahweh done said, yeah, the child that you going to have going to do such and such. But he's like, well, look, I ain't got pregnant now. By this time, I ain't going to get pregnant. Go and get this woman here and have children by her. How about you just sit down and shut up? How about you just sit still? See? That's our problem. We can't sit still. We got to move. We sit down more than 5 minutes. We got to say something. We got to do something. Just sit down and be quiet. Just wait. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 11 and verse 31. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came on to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran.
So the way you see it, the eldest, because they are the sons of Terah, he's the one that's doing all the directing here. He's the one that's leading everything. Keep going.
Now Yahweh had said unto Abraham, Get you out of your country, and from your kindred, and from your father's house, unto a land that I will show you.
So understand that Yahweh can't go on the next level with Abram until after he has separated him from his father. And these are the things a lot of times we won't do, because we have these natural connections, but Yahweh from the beginning has always separated. He said he's going to separate the nations. He separated the people. He separates clean from unclean. But because we're looking at natural things, we can't deal with it in that fashion. But he does not deal with him until after there's a separation between him and his father. He waited till the daddy died. Now he dealing with Abram. Go ahead.
And I'll make of you a great nation, and I'll bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I'll bless them that bless you, and curse him that curse you, and in you shall all families of the earth be blessed.
Right, not in your daddy. See, if he would have done this in the times that the daddy was living, he would have automatically tried to include the father, and the father would have been running the covenant that he not even made, that he didn't even make with the daddy. Go ahead.
So Abram departed as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him.
Right, and this is how you know he would have done with the daddy, because even at this point, as Abram is now dealing with the promise that Yahweh is making with him, he automatically brings Lot with him. Go ahead.
And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sychem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto your seed will I give this land. And there built he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar unto Yahweh, and called upon the name of Yahweh. And Abraham journeyed, going on still toward the south.
Right, so then you find after this separation, Yahweh is able to go on a different level in dealing with Abram. Let's go to chapter 13.
Genesis chapter 13 and verse 1. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai. onto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of Yahweh. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together.
So Yahweh made them multiply so much that they could not live together. So Yahweh is causing this separation. Go ahead.
And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray you, between me and you, and between my herdmen and your herdmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself, I pray you, from me. If you will take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you depart to the right hand, then I'll go to the left.
Now, the covenant was made with Abram. Covenant wasn't made with Lot. But he's still giving Lot the opportunity to choose left or right. And he said, wherever you go, I'll go to the opposite. Go ahead.
And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before Yahweh destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of Yahweh, like the land of Egypt, as you come onto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other.
Right. They now separated themselves one from the other. Go ahead.
Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom.
Because Sodom looked, naturally, Sodom looked really nice. Physically. Go ahead.
But the men of Sodom were wicked, and sinners before Yahweh exceedingly. And Yahweh said unto Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now your eyes, and look from the place where you are northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which you seize, to you will I give it, and to your seed forever.
Right. But he didn't enter into that level of the covenant until after he had separated from Lot. Go ahead.
And I'll make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can count the number of the dust of the earth, then shall your seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land, in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto you. Then Abraham removed his tent, and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto Yahweh. So then we see that before Yahweh moves on these levels, there's a separation. Because we have a tendency to try to include everybody in what Yahweh does with us. And it ends up causing some problems. That Yahweh gives us some kind of blessing or increase. And if we have made cohabitation with the adversary, now guess what? The blessing that Yahweh is giving you, you sharing with the adversary and with the heathen. So now he has blessed the heathen in blessing you. See, now you got a problem whether you know it or not. Leviticus chapter 10, and let's start that at verse 1. So there has to be a separation between the clean and the unclean, the holy and the unholy. And sometimes we have just decided that we're not going to do those things. Go ahead. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before Yahweh, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from Yahweh, and he devoured them, and they died before Yahweh. Then Moshe said unto Aaron, This is it that Yahweh spake, saying, I'll be sanctified in them that come near me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. And Moshe called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said unto them, Come near. carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they went near and carried them in their coast out of the camp, as Moshe had said. And Moshe said unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar,
Go ahead.
his sons, uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest you die.
Right. Telling the priest, uncover not your heads, yet you got people walking around talking about, why that brother reading the word with his head covered? Right. What word y'all read? Go ahead.
And lest wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahweh has kindled. And you shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
I'm laughing, man, because you can't see this graphic. And they grossed out by this graphic. And I want them to be grossed out by the graphic. When you talk about separating the clean and the unclean, you got one of these Gentiles letting the dog lick them in the mouth, and then got one of these sores on the folk mouth. See, a dog will throw up and eat his own vomit. A dog will eat his own, poop. A dog will do all of that. A dog will go to town on himself while you looking now. He don't care. Right there in the living room. Right there in the living room. He don't care you watching. He don't care what it is he do. And see, people don't separate the clean from the unclean. It says that there's going to be dogs in the kingdom. But see, we don't separate the clean from the unclean. You got folk, they dog right up and jump up in their bed. Why your dog in your bedroom? What the hell wrong with that? That something ain't right. You know why? Because we watch what these people do. So there's no separation between the clean and the unclean. So the unclean animals just walk all around our house. Just go wherever they want to go. Hey, that dog, them animals was meant to be outside. See, animals, you ever wonder why they got a tail? Because they can't wipe. And when you don't wipe, the flies go right up in there. They just fly right, the north and the south end. They just go right there. See, so there's a reason why they got that tail. So what you think happening is they go all around your house and sit down? Right. They putting that feces everywhere in your house. They just taking feces everywhere in your house. Just sit on your sofa, then you lay down right there on it. You know what I'm saying? And wonder, I smell funny. Right. That's because you got tutor on your cheek. That's why you smell funny. Right. But see, where we get that from? Because we watch those other nations, and they grab the dog. It was this scruffy. And sit there and lick the dog right in the face. I seen a movie where the dude put a treat in his mouth and let the dog bite it out of his mouth. Boy, you tripping. Let the dog drink beer out of his bottle, then he went and drank the beer out the bottle. Just looked at this the other day. See? And we let all of that stuff roam around, and what happens? There's no separation between clean and unclean. Now you got all of these things roaming anywhere. It used to be a point. Black people, we had dogs. Our dog was in the back. Mm-hmm. See, first of all, you didn't find us riding down the street with dogs in our lap till you start seeing them other people riding with dogs in their lap. They think, we riding down there. And we didn't do that. But see, we watch other people do it. Now we riding down the street with the dog in our lap. Go ahead, bro.
But if you look back at history, our people taught the Europeans that there was supposed to be a separation between them and the animals. And then we turn around and picked up this nonsense.
Right, because we have a tendency to do things when we are around other people once it's normalized. And it's normalized by showing us all these things on television. See? Every few weeks, I got to fight one of my kids talking about, I want a dog. Where we going to put the little nasty thing? Because it ain't staying in there. I'm not laying on no feces. I'm telling you now. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And you shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. For the anointing oil of Yahweh is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moshe. And Yahweh spake unto Aaron, saying, Do not drink wine nor strong drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations.
Johanna just gonna cover her face. She gonna try not to look up. You know what I'm saying? She like, I'm gonna cover my face until this graphic go away. Look at it! Look at it! I hope it gross you out. She let now one of them nasty animals lick you in your face. Go ahead.
and that you may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean. And that you may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which Yahweh had spoken unto them by the hand of Moshe.
Right. Let it gross you out. So when you have children, you'll teach them, look, don't be done. That's nasty, boy. Little girl, don't do that. Because when you don't, they get to see the stuff on TV, and then there's no designated point for the unclean animal. Now the unclean animal roams everywhere. See? You need to go ahead and let it gross you out. Look at it. Look at it. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 12. And Moshe spake unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar, his sons that were left. Take the meat offering that remains of the offerings of Yahweh made by fire, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, for it is most holy. And you shall eat it in a holy place, because it is your due, and your sons' due, of the sacrifices of Yahweh made by fire, for so I am commanded. And the wave breast and the heave shoulder shall you eat in a clean place, you and your sons, and your daughters with you, for they be your due, and your sons' due, which are given out of the sacrifices of peace offerings of the children of Israel. The heave shoulder and the wave breast shall they bring with the offerings made by fire of the fat, to wave it for a wave offering before Yahweh. And it shall be yours and your sons with you by a statute forever, as Yahweh has commanded. And Moshe diligently sought the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burnt. And he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, which were left alive, saying, Wherefore have you not eaten the sin offering in the holy place?
Right. Why have you not eaten this sin offering in the holy place? Go ahead.
Seeing it is most holy. And Elohim has given it you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before Yahweh. Behold, the blood of it was not brought. Behold, the blood of it was not brought in within the holy place. You should indeed have eaten it in the holy place, as I commanded. And Aaron said unto Moshe, Behold, this day have they offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before Yahweh. And such things have befallen me.
Such things have befallen me. I ain't clean. Go ahead.
And if I had eaten the sin offering today, should it have been accepted in the sight of Yahweh?
Would it have been accepted if I had done this clean thing in an unclean manner? Go ahead.
And when Moshe heard that, he was content.
Right. Okay. Now that you said that, all right. See? So he understood. Even though it is my duty that I must eat this, once I have been made unclean, I'm going to make it unclean. So even though it was this thing that he was supposed to do, he knew that he would defile it if he did. And only when he said that, then Moshe was content. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 23. You can look up now, Johanna. You can look up. You can look up now. Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verses 1 through 14.
Verse 1. He that is wounded in the stones, or has his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of Yahweh.
And a bastard is not what we were told when we were growing up. We was told that a bastard was somebody without a father. When you look up bastard is Mamzar in Strong's H4464, which is mongrel, born of a Hebrew Israelite father and a heathen mother. That is what a bastard is. So when you got, these brothers and all these other congregations, how they try to blur that line is by making everybody Israel. That's why they make everybody Israel, so they can have these little mongrels running around here talking about they Hebrew Israelites. See? Because they did get with one of them little mongrel, one of the little heathen women talking about, well, they Israel. They Israel. Where's she from? Guadalupe somewhere? What are you talking about? How she Israel? See? So they deal with that. Not of any slave lineage. Can't tell you nothing of any of those things. But they try to make these people Israel so that they can do whatever it is they want to do. That's the definition of a bastard. Born of a Hebrew Israelite father and a heathen mother. Now you understand when you read Ezra why he told them, y'all need to get rid of these children. Wait, but the seed is of the man, right? We Hebrew Israelites, and these are our children. Oh, you mean them little bastard children right there? No, they can't go in here. Because see, their mamas ain't converted to nothing. Them heathen mamas. So you leave them little heathen children with their heathen mama. See, that hurt their feeling. Israel was just crying. Right. Because they say it was many of them that had done it. Yahweh didn't care. Leave them out. See, we talk that blood thicker than water. Yahshua's blood is thicker than water. Go ahead.
Verse 3. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of Yahweh forever. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way, when you came forth out of Egypt. And because they hired against you Balaam the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia to curse you. Nevertheless, Yahweh your Elohim would not hearken unto Balaam, but Yahweh your Elohim turned the curse into a blessing unto you, because Yahweh your Elohim loved you. You shall not seek their peace, nor their prosperity all your days forever. You shall not abhor an Edomite.
You shall not hate an Edomite.
For he is your brother.
Now, this throws some people off. Because see, first of all, they've made Gentiles Edomites because you got Gentiles over there in the land who are basically proselytes who have converted. So then they want to make the Gentiles Edomites, and they want to try to make them of a whole different lineage because they mixing things together and don't know how to put it together. So then they got misplaced hatred. It's already wrong to have hatred, but then they got the hatred going in the wrong direction. Go ahead.
You shall not abhor an Egyptian, because you was a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of Yahweh in their 3rd generation. When the host goes forth against your enemies, then keep you from every wicked thing.
Right. When the host goeth forth against your enemies, when you are engaged in a holy war, keep you from every wicked thing. Because once you make yourself unclean, the angel cannot fight with you. You are then left by yourself, which gives you no strength at all. So if you don't learn to separate the clean from the unclean, you're going to walk your unclean self because of some mess that you done got off into a holy war, and you're going to end up getting killed and not understanding why you were losing. Because you have not separated the clean from the unclean. And walk right up to Yahweh in your uncleanness and have no idea. And ignorance is no excuse. Because Yahweh going to say, wait a minute now, didn't I know I sent somebody to teach you that. Matter of fact, I know for a fact I sent somebody to teach you that. So why are you standing here in your uncleanness? Go ahead.
Verse 10. If there be among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanness that chances him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp. He shall not come within the camp. But it shall be, when evening comes on, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again. You shall have a place also without the camp, whether you shall go forth abroad. And you shall have a paddle upon your weapon, and it shall be, when you will ease yourself abroad, you shall dig therewith, and shall turn back and cover that which comes from you. Now,
that was the thing. I remember us talking about that before. That the dogs used to do that. When the dogs used the bathroom, the dogs would kick dirt up on it. Why they don't do that no more?
People have...
Because they live in the house. You can't kick up no carpet on doo-doo. Now the dog's so twisted, they don't even cover that, which comes back from them. Why they gonna do that? Because they got you to do it. Now, the people walk behind the dog in the park, the dog poop. Now they got the little pooper scooper bag that you got to, put the bag over your hand and then go in there and pick up the dog poop. Hey, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. See? But why? Because he has gotten domesticated. He's not a dog no more. So he don't cover that. Now he's expecting you to do it. There's something wrong with that right there. It threw me off when I seen the dog do it again. I saw a dog use the bathroom and kick the dirt. I said, damn, it's been 20 years since I seen that. Then what, that must be an old school dog. That was the way they get this old school dog from. Where they got an old school dog? He must watch Soul Train, got an afro pick. Where they get this? This old school dog. See? He ain't domesticated. See, he understands what dogs are supposed to do. See, there's a reason, when you, and we don't see that we upsetting the natural balance of things when we doing that. It's like the people that want to kill off, the bees or something. You don't understand how many other problems it causes when you take something out of its natural habitat and start tinkering with it. When you talk about turn around and cover that which proceeds from you. Now, it says, verse 13, you shall have a paddle upon your weapon, and it shall be when you will ease yourself. First of all, verse 12, you shall have a place without the camp where you go. See, there's a reason why they had that thing called an outhouse. It was outside the house. Outhouse, not in house. Okay? So you go outside the camp to go and relieve yourself. Why? Because Yahweh walks among you. And if he sees any uncleanness, he may turn around and walk out. So if you got unclean animals pooping and carrying their unwiped tail all over your house, and the angel of Yahweh come in there, man, I ain't coming in here. It's nasty. We all get out of in here. I'm out. Peace. Now you don't get the blessing you're supposed to get, because the angel couldn't stay in your place more than 16 seconds. Now how we get that? Watching them other nations. All the animals in the bed with us, all of these things. How did we get there? Just years ago, man, you wouldn't even catch us doing nothing like that. See? We're going to have to separate clean from unclean. And that ain't just animals, that's people. And Yahweh did it from the beginning. He wouldn't even deal with Abram until he separated from certain people of his family. And he did it several times over. Go ahead.
Verse 14. For Yahweh your Elohim walks in the midst of your camp to deliver you and to give up your enemies before you. Therefore shall your camp be holy, that he sees no unclean thing in you and turn away from you.
And turn away from you. And now you have not received the help that you're supposed to receive, because he has seen uncleanness in you. Why? Because there's no separation between clean and unclean. This is what the adversary promotes. This is why it seems normal to us. This is why it seems regular. Because we actually see those things and they're promoted. They're put in movies and put in commercials for a reason. You know that people there's this thing called product placement. That's how a lot of people get paid on YouTube, how people get paid in movies. Product placement is big money. They don't really make money like from the videos itself. It's the product placement in the videos. When the cigarette companies paid money to have I think it was that old movie Rebel Without a Cause. They had the real cool dude who rode the motorcycle, and they had him smoke a cigarette. These people didn't even smoke, but they paid these people money to smoke a cigarette in the movie. Product placement. That caused all these other people to start smoking because it looked cool. Now you know how many people now got cancer because they thought it was cool to smoke. I tried it. It didn't work for me. I was like, this sucks. And And why people start smoking? Because they thought it looked cool. But that was put there for a reason. For you to think that it was normal so you could keep trying to mimic it. The adversary knows what he's doing. He puts these things before you. So the more regular they seem, the easier it is for you to do those things. You hear people talk about, my dog or my cat is part of my family. They send the dog and the cat to get surgery. What? What? Back in the day, they'd be like, what's wrong with the cat? Man, the cat gonna die, bro. The cat gonna die. The cat need a heart transplant, the cat gonna die. Not paying. I got children in here, they need stuff. I'm not finna have no operation for no dog and no cat. Man, they got dog and cat insurance now. Man, I just got insurance myself. Why I look like insuring the dog? I gotta take Scruffy for his checkup. Yeah, go ahead and get his teeth clean. Hell, I ain't got mine done. Man, you read that, man.
That was done.
That was the end of that. Go to Ezekiel 22.
Hey, they will lock you up for neglecting him. Don't care about you neglecting yourself.
Exactly. If you done told me, sir, this dog don't look like it's healthy. You can't even tie a dog to a tree no more. They'll lock you up. See, that used to be where you found our dogs, tied to the tree.
The white folks said that is so inhumane. You can't just tie the dog to a tree. He might run around the tree and choke himself.
Well, he must be a fool then. He just run around there and he choke himself. See, old school dog knew better than that. See, old school dog didn't choke himself. See, that's the new school dog. See, they just run around, choke themselves, run around the tree. Old school dogs knew, hey man, you don't keep running around that tree, you gonna choke. He done did it. He done choked himself. Old school dog knew better than that. You ain't never find no dead dogs in the hood that they just ran around the tree and choked themselves. That's these new stupid ones. Why? Because they done got domesticated. Walk around with your dog with a sweater on. Why your dog got a sweater? It's a dog. Why your dog got a sweater? Because he might get cold. Right. He ain't got used to outside. Something wrong. And you know the other dog be picking on him. Look at that dog with the sweater on. Ezekiel chapter 22, and let's read verses 17 through 31.
And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, the house of Israel is to become dross. All they are brass, and tin, and iron, and lead, in the midst of the furnace. They are even the dross of silver. Therefore thus said the Adonai Elohim, because you are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem, as they gather silver, and brass, and iron, and lead, and tin, into the midst of the furnace, to blow the fire upon it, to melt it. So will I gather you in mine anger and in my fury, and I'll leave you there and melt you. Yes, I will gather you and blow upon you in the fire of my anger, and you shall be melted in the midst thereof. As silver is melted in the midst of the furnace, so shall you be melted in the midst thereof. And you shall know that I, Yahweh, have poured out my fury upon you. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto her, You art the land that is not cleansed, nor rained upon in the day of indignation. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls, they have taken the treasure and precious things, they have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Her priests have violated my law, and have profaned mine holy things.
Right. While people are talking about the priesthood is done away with, but then they collect tithes which were set aside for the priests. But then they let everything come among them so that they can receive more tithes and more offerings. Go ahead.
They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Shabbats, and I am profaned among them.
Right. You can go to Sunday church however you want to come. Clean, unclean. They don't care. The more the merrier. They'll put the dead body right by the altar, They'll have their funeral service on the Sabbath and then turn around and have worship the adversary on Sunday. And because we've been raised up with these things, we think that this is normal. These are the teachings of the adversary. This is where we learn to put all clean and unclean all into one big bowl. There's one of those things where they were making food for the angel, and they cooked the food in the pot, and it had the bloody broth in it, and the angel came and poured it out. Angel like, no, you can't cook that in the blood. See, when you cook that in that broth, when you boil that, all the blood of that flows into the rest of those things, and then you got some people just put all their food in one place, and they boiling the chicken and dealing all that at the same place where the rice at. Hey, they be like, yeah, that see that seasoning, that sauce getting, that ain't sauce, that's blood, man. That ain't sauce. People say, yeah, man, this steak, man, you see that, that's juicy. That's not juicy, brother, that's bloody. That's a difference. See, that's wickedness unto Yahweh. And the angel came and seen it and automatically poured out the broth. So, man, can't nobody deal with that. But see, if you don't know no better, now you got clean and unclean together, thinking that Yahweh's supposed to accept that. Go ahead.
You know, that thing was, it was a hard lesson to learn, especially with cooking meat and you cooking it down in what we call it gravy. Mm-hmm. And that's all mixed in there, and it was a hard lesson to learn to, hey, you got to pour this off once all that's cooked down, and then make your gravy separately.
Mm-hmm. Right. But see, when you don't know no better, you walking around with that blood talking about you got some gravy. See, that's why I can't eat everybody's food. And that's part of that southern thing. Somebody come, in the South, hey, y'all hungry? Hell to the no. I am not. What? Not gonna happen? No. No, see, I got a culture I live by. See, and it's much more difficult for me to explain to you my culture than to say, no, I'm not. And some people, you have to hurt their feelings, because they keep asking you, you want to eat? You want to eat? Man, I already told you, man, no, I don't want to eat. Well, what's wrong with you want to eat? You going to ask me one more time? You going to get it then? You going to get it? You going to get it? I done gave, look, I can't be nice but 3 times in a row. Now I done gave y'all 3 of my niceties. The next one, I'm jumping off the top rope. Wrestling number 2. I'm telling you now, I'm about to fool Nelson off the top rope. Keep it up. Then your feelings going to get hurt. I have a culture that I live by. I am not eating that stuff. Then I'm going to have to go and check you in your own kitchen. How you cook this? Where that grease come from? Is that the old grease that you use from the bacon?
Then folk like, oh my God, wait a minute, why are you asking all these questions?
See? I told you to leave me alone 3 questions ago. See, now you think I'm being unfair. I told you 3 times ago to leave me alone. See? I don't eat that mess. See? But now they think something wrong with you. I gave you 3 opportunities to back off. Every time I go to the country, I got to deal with that. Because, see, I grew up eating them pork chops. See? When I got kicked out of school, I had to go to a place, they had the pork chop lady. I used to go and stand in the pork chop line in the morning eating that. If I don't eat another pork chop, I've eaten enough pork for 3 people's lives, all right? If I die and come back twice, I don't have enough pork, all right? So I go back to the country. They get mad.
Well, it was good enough for you when you was here. Now you brand new now, huh? You brand new. Look at the tag on you. Now you old brand new now.
Look, I don't eat it, all right? And then they even make the chicken in the same pork chop. I get the chicken, I like, Grandma, this chicken smell like pork. Why the chicken smell like ham? Because it's the same grease that she cooked the ham in. See? See, there's no separation between clean and unclean. So now you got a dirty piece of clean food. What? The chicken is able to be eaten, except when you dipped it in that pork grease. And there's something wrong when food smells like something that it ain't. See, fish supposed to smell like fish, and a burger supposed to smell like burger. But when I get ready to bite into a burger and it smells like fish, something wrong with this burger. Something wrong with this burger. This burger ain't supposed to smell like fish. There's something wrong here. See, you find people that keep that. See, that's that stuff that we did in the country. You keep that old grease. So you had a big old little thing of grease sitting by there, and they just dip right there back in there and get that grease. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. What you do? What you doing right there? I done been in a restaurant and ate something that was cooked beside pork, and it had me sick as a dog. I didn't eat the pork, but I realized that they put it on the grill right beside it. So when I go in the Waffle House, I pull out a few extra dollars. Hey, brother. Hey, what's happening? How you doing, bro? Hey, look at man. Go a few dollars, man. Clean off that grill for me. And he'll do it. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate you. Because I'm trying not to go home sick. And these couple dollars going to take care of the business. Go ahead, brother. Clean that off for me. And sometimes you can tell, hey, put mine in a pan. Put mine in the pan. Don't cook mine directly on the grill. Put it in the pan. Completely separate yours from anything else that's been on that grill. Because, see, they don't know no better. They mixing clean and unclean all the time. And what? It costs you a couple extra dollars. You're going to lose that in the washing machine. You'll find a couple dollars in your sofa. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 27. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain.
Mm-hmm.
And her prophets have daubed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity and divining lies unto them, saying, Thus said the Adonai Elohim, when Yahweh has not spoken. The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery, and have vexed the poor and needy. Yes, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. And I sought for a man among them that should make up the hedge, and stand in the gap before me for the land, that I should not destroy it. But I found none. Therefore have I poured out mine indignation upon them. I have consumed them with the fire of my anger. Their own way have I recompensed among their heads, saith the Adonai Elohim.
All right, let's go to Haggai chapter 2. Haggai chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
964.
Mm-hmm.
963.
Right behind Zephaniah. Haggai chapter 2. And we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
Verse 1. In the 7th month, in the 21st day of the month, came the word of Yahweh by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak now to Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, governor of Yehudah, and to Yahshua the son of Yosedek, the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, Who is left among you that saw this house in her first glory? And how do you see it now? Is it not in your eyes in comparison of it as nothing? Yet now we be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith Yahweh, and be strong, O Yahshua son of Yosedek, the high priest, and be strong, all you people of the land, says Yahweh, and work, for I am with you, says Yahweh of hosts. According to the word that I covenanted with you when you came out of Egypt, so my spirit remains among you, fear you not. For thus said Yahweh of hosts, Yet once, it is a little while, and I'll shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. And I'll shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. And I will fill this house with glory, said Yahweh of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, says Yahweh of hosts. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, says Yahweh of hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And in this place will I give peace, says Yahweh of hosts.
And see, our problem is, as long as the house standing, we still think that it must be righteous. The whole time Yahshua was speaking of the temple, this is one of the reasons why they got upset with him. Because he said, it shall not be left one stone laying upon another. But as long as they had a physical place of worship, it was hard for them to understand that spiritually it was in decay and ruins because of the spiritual uncleanness in it. Because they had not separated clean and unclean. That's why Yahshua went in there and started turning over tables. What, y'all in here selling stuff? Y'all got animals in here? You got oxen and sheep? You selling that for the offering? Go ahead.
In the 24th day of the 9th month, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of Yahweh by Haggai the prophet, saying, Thus said the Yahweh of hosts, Ask now the priest concerning the law, saying, If one bear holy flesh in the skirt of his garment, and with his skirt do touch bread, or pottage, or wine, or oil, or any meat, shall it be holy? And the priest answered and said, No.
Right. It is no longer holy because now you have mixed it with regular things. Go ahead.
Then said Haggai, If one that is unclean by a dead body touch any of these, shall it be unclean? And the priest answered and said, It shall be unclean.
Right. But you have the majority of people that have not even heard of anything like this. So when we start talking to people about separation between clean and unclean, they look at you and be like, where are you getting this from? Because the Sunday morning doctrine said, you know, just come as you are. Come right from the club. Come, matter of fact, come with your same outfit on. Just come, you know, go to the club, go to the Waffle House, and then just come right on into the church with your gyration juices all on you. Just roll right into it. Go ahead.
Then answered Haggai and said, So is this people, and so is this nation before me, says Yahweh, and so is every work of their hands, and that which they offer there is unclean.
Everything they offer then is unclean, because they have not made a separation between it. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6. See, we don't consider that. Second Corinthians chapter 6. And let's read verses 14 through 18.
Verse 14.
I don't need a giggling now. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And let's start at verse 14.
Be you not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
Right. When we are unequally yoked with unbelievers, they have a lifestyle that does not fit the direction of this word. So there's going to be a problem. Go ahead.
For what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion has light with darkness?
Right. How can light and darkness can't get along? When darkness is in a place, when you turn on the light, the darkness got to move. Light and dark can't be in the same place at the same time. Go ahead.
And what concord has the Mashiach with Belial? Or what part has he that believes with an infidel? And what agreement has the temple of Elohim with idols? For you are the temple of the living Elohim. As Elohim have said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I'll be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
If I'm going to be their Elohim and they shall be my people, then they're going to observe my statutes. Go ahead.
Wherefore come out from among them, and be you separate.
If you come out from among them, then you denounce their ways. See? Then there's a separation between the clean and the unclean. There's a way that a house is built. You ever notice very seldom have you ever seen the bathroom and the kitchen in the same place? See, when you go into a place like that, you automatically know something wrong with this place right here. Something wrong with this place. Because the last thing you want to do is be cooking and smell the aroma of somebody in the bathroom. See, those two things ain't supposed to be right beside each other. See? So then, here it is. You look at this graphic. What? Folk cooking, and they got the unclean animal moving around. Soon as you turn your head, the unclean animal is all in your stuff. Never mind the droppings they done already left all around the house. Since there's no separation between clean and unclean, there's a problem. See, because they didn't have all of that running pipes or anything, then they had to have an outhouse for you to go ease yourself somewhere else so that uncleanness wasn't sitting in your house. And it's the simple form of it is what they have, the septic tank. It just rolled right out of the house into a pit in the backyard. And sooner or later, the pit fill up. You got to call somebody, and they come and clean out the pit. But that uncleanness is not then sitting in there with you. But that don't do you no good if you get other uncleanness and bring it in. So you're going to get rid of one uncleanness but bring in some other uncleanness. Go ahead.
Saith the Adonai, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Like I said, it is written that there are going to be dogs in the kingdom. We have animals, but then there's a separation between the clean and the unclean. Go ahead.
And will be a father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, said the Adonai Almighty.
All right, let's go to Malachi chapter 3.
Malachi chapter 3 and verse 1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Adonai, whom you seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom you delight in. Behold, he shall come, said Yahweh of hosts. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap.
Like I said before, he done already been tortured, had all of this. What make you think he coming back with rose petals? So then they got to tell this lie. He not angry with anybody, and you going to be raptured up anyway. So don't even read that Revelation stuff. They ain't going to do nothing but scare you. But make sure you put your check in the box on the way out. Right. Go ahead.
And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. And he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahweh an offering in righteousness.
Right. If you're going to purify, fire purifies precious metals. So if you're going to be under that heat and intense scrutiny, those things are the things that purify you. Those are the things that we take off running from. As soon as something don't go our way, we out. Those are the very things that's purifying you so that you are able to stand and make a righteous offering before Yahweh your Elohim. Go ahead.
Then shall the offering of Yehuda and Jerusalem be pleasant unto Yahweh.
Then shall the offering be pleasant. Until you're purified, until there has been a righteous separation between clean and unclean, the offering is not even accepted the way that it's supposed to be. Because it's mingled. Go ahead.
As in the days of old, and as in former years. And I'll come near to you to judgment, and I'll be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress their hireling in his wages.
Right, and that's something that we have learned here in the daughter of Babylon, because this is how Babylon was built. By oppressing the hireling in their wages. The hireling is people who were hired to do a job. So you hire people to do a job, then oppress them in their wages, but then all the time talking about God is great. God is good. You think he approve of you oppressing them people in their wages like that? So that lets you know that they worship a different God. See? Go ahead.
The widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, says Yahweh of hosts. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Even from the days of your fathers you are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them.
Right. See, they want to tell you, anytime you read something, oh, that's that old mean God. See, you read about that mean God in the Old Testament. Yahweh say, I change not. Yahshua turn around. Matter of fact, while they walking around talking about grace and all these other things, Yahshua made the law harder than Moshe's law. Under Moshe's law, if you committed adultery, then, you know, you had transgressed the law. Yahshua said if you looked upon a woman to lust after her, you have already committed the adultery with her in your heart. That's harder. Especially with people walking around with see-through clothing on. Like, is that? It was a little girl came down the street the other day when the power went out. I said, is that girl in a negligee? I said, what that is right there? What that is? The little girl just kept walking down. I said, somebody need to whoop her. I said, what? She need to get back in the bed. Because them nighttime clothes. And she walked on her tail all the way down the street. And I was like, she naked. Where her folks at? Looked like she had crawled right out of the bed. And see, that kind of stuff got King David in trouble. He was in a place where he wasn't supposed to be, on the rooftop of his house, and seen that woman washing. Once he seen her naked, done deal. I gotta have it. Gotta have it. He seen something he wasn't supposed to see. He said, hey man, y'all go find out who that woman is. Yeah, man, she the one married to Uriah. Yeah, whatever. Bring her in here. Bring her in here. I done seen that. I gotta have it. Right. See what they tell you? The eyes are the windows to the soul. Mm-hmm. Right. That's why people walk around naked all the time. Go ahead.
Return unto me, and I'll return unto you, says Yahweh of hosts. But you said, wherein shall we return? Will a man rob Elohim? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed you? In tithes and offerings.
And like I said before, it's priests that receive the tithes, but yet people are going to tell you that the priesthood is done away with, and then they're dealing with things through the Melchizedek priesthood. They really don't understand this word. Go ahead.
You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring you all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, says the Yahweh of hosts. If I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it.
Now, of course, people use this to, especially the people who tell you that the law is nailed to the cross, but they still want to receive all the tithe. So they set these things up so they can get more and more out of the people. But then you have our folks who have seen the excess in which they deal in on Sunday morning and giving these tithes and offerings. But then our people go too far in trying to rebuke it. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And I'll rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground. Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, says Yahweh of hosts. And all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, says Yahweh of hosts. Your words have been stout against me, says Yahweh of hosts. Says Yahweh, pardon me. Yet you say, what have we spoken so much against you?
Right.
You have said, it is vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahweh of hosts?
Right. Anytime somebody get up on Sunday morning and tell you, don't even worry about the Big Ten. Don't even worry about trying to keep no commandments. Don't worry about all that stuff. But at the same time, if you don't give tithes and offering, you should be lined up in front of a firing squad and shot with a Uzi. But don't worry about adultery and, all that stuff. You can do all that. That's a doctrine of a devil. Go ahead.
And now we call the proud happy. Yes, they that work wickedness are set up.
Right. The people who teach against the commandments are the richest people on the earth. The people who teach the commandments are the poorest people on earth. Go ahead.
Yes, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, says Yahweh of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I'll spare them, as a man spares his own son that serves him. Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serves Elohim and him that serves him not.
Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked. See, they have put everything together, but Yahweh is going to do exactly what he did in the beginning. He's going to separate the righteous from the wicked. He's going to separate the clean from the unclean. And one is going to go into everlasting joy, and the other one's going to go into everlasting judgment. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 14. See, this make-believe love that Yahweh is happy with everything. It is truly a make-believe fairy tale. And one that's going to get a lot of people killed. Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verses 22 through 29.
Verse 22. You shall truly tithe all the increase of your seed that the field brings forth year by year.
Now, the reason I'm going into this, I've heard several things where the brothers are trying to talk about how deep the people are misusing the tithes, but then they go so far as to say tithe was just about the things in the field and your crops and things of that nature. So they end up going a little too far in trying to rebuke these people for them being after filthy lucre's sake. Go ahead.
And you shall eat before Yahweh your Elohim, in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, the tithes of your corn, of your wine, and of your oil, and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks, that you may learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim always.
So they'll read that and they'll stop right there, you see? So it was produce and your animals. It didn't have nothing to do with money. This is what they teach. Go ahead.
And if the way be too long for you, so that you are not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from you, which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose to set his name there, when Yahweh your Elohim have blessed you, then shall you turn it into money.
What you do?
You turn it into money.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Then shall you turn it onto money.
Right. See, don't bring no sheep and no goats up here. All right? All right? I can't, when Georgia Power said, look here, man, we need y'all to pay the power bill, I can't get them people no goat. Look, I ain't got no money. But look here, man, I had somebody brought this nice goat here. I mean, you can deal with this. It's just about 1-2 years old, right? It's a good one. You can raise this up, right? Like your own child. There you go. Take that with you. You say, well, I look like Julio from Sanford and Son, man. What you gonna do? Well, you can't give me no goat. That ain't gonna work. No. Them power people, they want money. I can't get them no animals to pay this light. I can't keep this internet on if you mail in a sheep in here. No, you got to mail in a check here for us to keep that internet going. So these brothers go and try to disprove what the people doing on Sunday morning, but then they go too far. Go ahead.
Then you shall turn it into money, and bind up the money into your hand, and you shall go unto the place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose. And you shall bestow that money for whatsoever your soul lust after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink.
Now see, and I know some people look at that picture and they're like, wait a minute, I know he ain't got no kavase up in there. I know good and well they ain't got no kavase up in there. Wait a minute, what did he say? What did he say? Read that again. He said for what?
And you shall bestow that money for whatsoever your soul lust after.
Keep going.
For oxen, or for sheep, or for wine.
Wine? Next.
Or for strong drink.
Strong drink. Now you see a glass right there, that's the wine. Right? Then look to the right of that, you see what? That's some strong drink. Okay. Alright. I just figured I'd point it out to you. You know. Cause you got a lot of people. I know he didn't do that. Oh my God. That ain't holy. Right. Read, bro.
Or for whatsoever your soul desires, and you shall eat therefore before Yahweh Elohim.
Wait a minute. You doing this before Yahweh? Right. See, they being ignorant of Elohim's righteousness and have gone about to set up their own righteousness, have left off doing the righteousness of Elohim. See? Because they think they're holier than thou. Go ahead.
And you shall rejoice, you and your household. And the Levite that is within your gates, you shall not forsake him, for he has no part nor inheritance with you.
Right. That's what the tithe is for, to take care of the priest, because he don't have the inheritance, the land that everybody else have. But see, that ain't so today. The pastors got so much land today, you can't even get to their house. You can't even see it. It's 1.5 miles off the road. Go ahead.
At the end of 3 years, you shall bring forth all the tithes of your increase the same year.
They had times for tithe. Right. Go ahead.
And shall lay it up within your gates. And the Levite, because he has no partner inheritance with you, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow which are within your gates shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that Yahweh your Elohim may bless you in all the work of your hand which you does.
All right. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Matthew chapter 19. See, when it comes down to the redemption of the children of Israel, there's going to be some choices that we're going to have to make in separating the clean from the unclean. And that includes people and things. And some of the most unclean things are the closest things that we have to us. Matthew chapter 19, and let's read verses 27 through 30.
Then answered Cephas and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all, and have followed you. What shall we have therefore? And Yahshua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that you which have followed me, in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone that has forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
Right. So it's going to, at some point, people are going to have to separate themselves from the unclean. And unclean is not about a natural state of a man. It is about the spiritual state of a man. There's a whole lot of friends that I had before I got into this word I couldn't deal with anymore. Go ahead.
But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
Right. When you deal with the workers in the field, you find that some had worked longer, and they got upset that some of the last ones that came in got the same pay that they have gotten. But you have to consider, there's certain people that have been in this word for quite some time. But then what we do is it becomes normal to us. Then somebody else come into this word fresh out of Sunday church, and they get to walk right into the kingdom, and you left out. That's because everything has gotten normal unto you, but they still have the zeal. Let that not be mentioned among us, that we've gotten to the point that this thing just seems normal and we don't understand the great things that Yahweh has done to even have us among those that understand. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.